Welcome, everybody, to It Tastes Different Gaming News. What's on the news today? The 2023 Game Awards has announcements. We have a butt ton of announcements coming from the 2023 Game Awards show this year. And I have to say, some of them got me pretty hyped. So let's run through the list, and then we'll smack Nick around and make him tell us what he thinks. All right, so I'm going to go through this fairly quick so I don't bore you all with my amazing voice. So let's start here. Outlast Trials. The Palia. Guilty Gear Survive. Me and Nick are both kind of hyped for that one. We got Banishers, Ghost of New Eden, Stormgate. Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to Xbox. Actually, I think by the time you watch this, it will be out on Xbox. We got GTFO, Get the Fraggle Rock Out, coming to consoles. We got Asgard's Wrath. I thought, it's a full release now.
It's already a full release. It's its last chapter, the last DLC for it.
I thought it was still under the
nope.
guise of well, I'll be damned. Well, there you go. All right. The Matchless Kung Fu looked pretty interesting. Kimuri, I hope I pronounced that right. Ready or Not, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Honokai Star Rail Big Walk, Arc Knights Infield, Exodus, World of Goo 2, Thrasher, Usual June. I don't remember that one. The Rise of the Golden Idol. We got Harmonium, the musical, the game. Pony Island 2, Panda Circus, Wind Blown, Tales of Kinzura Zhao. Yeah, I butchered that. Den of Wolves, Black Myth Wukong. Me and Nick been looking for. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons remake. I've never played the original, but it always looked interesting. Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. No Rest for the Wicked. Fortnite, Rocket Racing. I don't know. Jurassic Park Survival. I believe that one was brought back from the brink of death. The Casting of Frank Stone. That one looked pretty interesting. Visions of Mana, baby. Mana's coming back after 15 years? Then we got Dragon Ball, Sparking Zero, not to be confused with Sparkling Water. Skull and Bones. Bullshit. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Rise of the Ronin, The First Berserker Kazan, Zenless Zone Zero, That Hurt to Say, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, The First Descendant, Mecha Break, that one looked kind of cool, Exoborn, The Last Sentinel, As Dusk Falls, which has already been released, but it's coming out some more. We got some DLC for Final Fantasy 16, The Rising Tide. I believe that's the one that's currently surprise released. And then Echoes of the Fallen, which is coming soon as well. Flipped them. Echoes of the Falling is out now. The other one is coming soon, The Rising Tide. Light No Fire. That is by No Man's Sky developer, and that one looked pretty cool. And then let's jump into some of my favorites here. Sega is making a big comeback, not with Sonic, but with the real classics. Sega is coming out with new iterations of Golden Axe, Shinobi, Streets of Rage, Crazy Taxi, and Jet Set Radio, all of which were awesome back in the day. We have The Finals. We have a new Marvel game coming out by Arcane, not Arcane that made Redfall, that destroyed life as we know it, but the other Arcane, the good one. And they're making a Blade game. God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC is coming out. We have got Monster Hunter Wilds, and I don't even want to call it a game because it's a Hideo Kojima production. So we're not sure what the hell it's going to be, but it's called OD. Not the dog, just O and a D. So, lots to go through here, but we'll just kind of peck through what we like because, why not? So, I'm going to let Nick go first, the ones that kind of, pecked his interest the most, and let's see what he thinks. Nick, a butt ton of trailers and things like that and announcements. Let's start. What do you think? What's one stand out to you?
I mean, there was a lot of good announcements for games that were shown off here. One of the games that was a standout for me, it's hard to pick one because there was a lot of them that looked really good. So I don't know if I could pick one. I mean, one that I'm like,
just ones that in any of them that, really piqued your interest.
So I'll give you like a small group of ones that really piqued my interest. One is Visions of Mana. I love the Mana series, and yeah, we've gotten remakes. We got Tales of Mana, or whatever that last one was. I have it, but I can't remember what it's called. That's the remake of that game, right? And this is a brand new Mana game. And it's been like, yeah, I think you're right. I think it's been like 15 years since we had an actual real from the ground up new release of a Mana game. So I'm super excited for that. That's my own like fanboyish excitement, right? For that. But No Rest for the Wicked looks really awesome. That's Moon Studios, who does Ori, and Ori is a fantastic game. And I'm really excited that one looks really good. And I'm excited to play that one. The First Descendant. No, not the First Descendant. We played the First Descendant. The Last Sentinel looked interesting. That's Lightspeed, a new developer that was making that new game. The Last Sentinel, they only had a CGI trailer, but it was like ninja robots or something like that. I mean, the concept seemed pretty in Tokyo or something like that. It seemed interesting. So I'm excited to see what comes of that. I think one of the biggest things was the Sega remakes. I think that's really awesome. I hope they do Altered Beast, because they said and more, but they didn't say which else. So I'm hoping like Altered Beast gets some, and some of the other Sega classic games get some remakes here. Also super excited for Monster Hunter Wilds, because that's pretty much, it looked like Monster Hunter World 2, and I love Monster Hunter World. I love the Monster Hunter games, and so a new Monster Hunter games, especially this one, which seems like bigger in scope than the last one. The last one was a little bit more condensed, kind of like how the older Monster Hunter games are, not like World, where World was this huge, world. And it seems like Wilds is kind of going back to that huge world aspect. But yeah, I mean, and there were some other ones, right? I mean, Black Myth, we already knew about. The Wukong, we already knew about that one. Windblown looked really cool. I think that's the Dead Cells developers, I believe, for that one. And this is like a 3-player co-op type game, so it looks really cool. The Infield looked interesting. Exodus looked pretty interesting as well. And then we got some, other games like Guilty Gear Strive. That one's already out. I think that was just new DLC and some new game modes that they were announcing for that one. Outlast Trials, that one, excuse me, that one's already in early access. I think that one's getting ready to go in full release. Like I said, GTFO, that was just its final like chapter or whatever. It's already been in full release. I don't remember when it came out of early access, but it's no longer in early access. Banishers, Ghost of Eden looks really cool. And I think that one comes out towards the beginning of next year. That one's Don't Nod, the people that make Life is Strange and stuff, but it looks like a more of a like an action adventure game than they're mostly their games, which are like point and click, like story driven stuff. This is more like you actually fight and stuff like that in Banishers. So Banishers looks really interesting. But yeah, I mean, and I could go over some more, but those were the ones. Rise of Ronin as well. That looked really cool. That's a PlayStation 5 game by Team Ninja. We've already seen Rise of Ronin. This wasn't the first time we've seen this game. They've shown it, I think, last year as well, but it was cool to see it again. Dragon Ball Sparkling Water, the retelling of Dragon Ball Z. So this is apparently the Budokai Takashi or Tachinchi or whatever the freak it's called.
Tenkaichi.
There you go. Tenkaichi, whatever the hell it's called. The Budokai series. This is basically an extension of that. So what they say. But I don't know how many times you can play the story of Dragon Ball Z without getting bored of the story of Dragon Ball Z. I think we've all played it many a times. Hello Games Light No Fire looked really cool as well. But who knows when that game will come out, and if it will be complete when it does, right? Like No Man's Sky now is a great game, but when it released, it was missing a lot of. It's kind of like a cyberpunk type thing, with that one. But yeah, I mean, and there were some other games out there too, but they showed off a lot of good games. We know Senua's Saga is coming next year. They should have really given a date to Senua's Saga, not just a year. I think Mark, and the reason why is not because, Ninja Theory needs to like rush this game out, but it would be better for Microsoft to put something, because Microsoft needs all the help they can get, right? And to put like a stamp on when that game is expected, because they just said 2024, and that could mean like, December 31st of 2024, right? The very last day of the year. And that also gives them the opportunity to push that game too, by just saying 2024, right? That gives them the opportunity to push it into 2025 or something like that, which will not help them. I want Ninja Theory to be able to create the game they want to create and have the time necessary. But right now for 2024, this is one of the big titles that we've been seeing for the last few years. And so it really needs to, like, if you're going to continue to show us this game, you really need to get closer to that release date. Otherwise, don't show us until you're ready. But, like I said, there were some other ones that looked pretty cool too, but those were the main ones that I think really stuck out to me as being like ones I'm excited for. What about you, Shane? Which ones were you excited for? Which groupings of games?
Yeah, you hit most of them. The Arknight's Infield looked really interesting. I couldn't give a crap about that Honkai Star Rail Star, whatever they call it. But there was a few that were a little off that, caught me off guard. The Matchless Kung Fu was really interesting looking. I don't know how that kind of gameplay is really going to work, but the trailer made me very curious about the game. The Sega announcement was probably one of my most hyped things that made me happy, because I grew up on these games. Now, there is a little sizzle reel that shows actual gameplay of these games. Crazy Taxi, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe. Shinobi is the one that really, really looked cool. 2D side scroller still, but the art style was in that little 5 seconds, whatever the hell it was really beautiful. Golden Axe is going to be third person view, it looks like. Crazy Taxi looks like Crazy Taxi, but just a hell of a lot more updated graphics. Jet Set Radio, whatever they're doing with that, it looked really good. It still had that kind of crazy art style from what that little trailer showed. Now, granted, that things can change. So, man, there's just so many beautiful ones out there. The Vision of Mana, just like you said, I'm pretty pumped for. Mecha Break look really interesting, as well as Exoborn. I thought both of those looked pretty enticing. I am really excited for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. I love the first one. It is, besides one of the most gorgeous games, it is one of the most well-written, acted games out there, period, bar none. It had a hell of a story, hell of voice acting. The young lady I don't know if she's a young lady, but the lady who does the voice acting for Senua is just, you feel for her, you wrench for her in that game. So I don't know how they're going to work 2 as a story, but I'm super pumped for it, plain and simple. And then, there's things out there that, that came out that, could be interesting. No Rest for the Wicked. It looked like it could be cool, but I want to see more. The casting of Frank Stone, I have no idea what that one was. Even watching the trailer, I was like, I don't get it. Zenless Zone Zero. It's probably not something I play, but it is very pretty looking game, so you should check that out. There's so many games out that announced that released. Besides Sega, I'd say the other one that probably caught my attention the absolute most, though, that I didn't know about was that Light No Fire. It was just a weird, beautiful looking game. I mean, it's like they took every asset from No Man's Sky and put it all into one planet. And it looks amazing. I don't know if it's all procedural. You're going to have a bunch of procedural junk in there, but it looked really cool. I mean, there is no denying. Microsoft having Blade, though, was really a shocker. I knew the Marvel games were going to start going to various developers because Square Enix is doing it. Sony is obviously doing Marvel games and so forth. So, but I was really surprised to see Xbox having a Marvel game. No, it's Arcane. So I didn't really feel the trailer because to me it wasn't dark enough because Blade is he's a dark dude. He's a vampire killer who's part vampire. So it should be a dark feeling game. It felt light. It just a very small trailer, but it felt like it was meant to be on the humorous end of it a little bit. I wasn't feeling that. And of course, I think the biggest waste of time was OD, the Hideo Kojima game. It was 3 faces that apparently, Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, apparently were not real faces, but in-game faces. And those faces were, one of them was the redhead girl from It and Dungeons and Dragons. I can't think of her name. I like her. She's a good actress. And then the other one was the old doctor guy from the Human Centipede movie. So yeah, he's creepy. And then some other lady, I have no idea who she is. And it was literally, I think, one yell and then just some weird looks to the screen. So no idea, but it was definitely Kojima. I mean, if you had no context and that thing came across your TV, it goes, oh, Kojima's coming out with something. So, and it'll be another 5-7 years for that, get anything else on it. So I really hate when they do that. And Kojima's the worst about it. So, but overall, lots of game announcements, some pretty nice surprises. The Light My Fire and the Sega one are probably my favorite things to come out of this, the award show this time. So yay me. I'm really excited for Jet Set Radio. That was one of my favorite things. Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future. Love those games. So, but Nick, was there any of them that caught you just like, damn? Because the Sega one caught me.
The Sega one caught me by surprise. One thing this list doesn't have is they also showed off Metaphor, which we've already seen before. That's from the Persona developers. It's their new RPG that's coming on to Xbox. They showed off more of that, which it looks really cool. So cool. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest surprise, I think for me, would have to be the Sega games. The remaking, like Sega's re-released these games before, but I mean, these were like redone from the ground up, it seemed like. So that was really cool. And to see them do that with some of these older titles that we grew up with and stuff, like I said, I hope they do more. I hope they do like Altered Beast. But everything looked really cool. I mean, Golden Axe was like fully 3D, like it wasn't or kind of side scrolling 3D like the old one was. It was like the full 3D, kind of like the Beast Rider one, but it looked more homage to the original, and it seemed like maybe it'll be like 3-player co-op as well. And Shinobi had a nice like kind of cartoonish graphical look, kind of comic book look to it,
but not like childish.
No. Crazy Taxi looked really good. It looked like Crazy Taxi, just better graphics and stuff. Streets of Rage looked really cool. Jet Set Radio looked really cool. So yeah, I mean those were the biggest things. I think that was probably the most surprising thing. It was nice to see Monster Hunter. It's not surprising in the fact that, of course, we knew they were going to make a new Monster Hunter. I mean, that series does really well for Capcom, so duh, but it was nice that they are working on something, and it seems like they're working on one of the bigger Monster Hunter games. So that's cool. And then Light No Fire from Hello Games looked really cool. I'm trying to think of anything else. Like I said, No Rest for the Wicked, I thought looked really cool. I think also the biggest surprise was Square Enix. Was Square Enix working on something new? Not necessarily, I'm hoping for Parasite Eve one day or something like that, but a new Mana game, hey, I'll take it. Like, I didn't think, besides re-releasing some of the old ones or remaking or HDing some of the older games, like I figured the Mana series was pretty much dead for Square Enix, but it doesn't seem that way. And the game's coming out next year. So awesome. I mean, it was fully 3D. It looked like a whole original new story and everything like that. So I'm like, cool. I love Mana, the Mana series. So I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, I think the Mana games are maybe a little bit more niche. I don't know, but I'm a fanboy for it. So I'm excited for it. But yeah, I mean, those were the biggest things. That I think the Sega games and then the Visions of Mana were probably the two biggest things that those are the two biggest things I wouldn't have expected to see at all. Right. The other ones I could say, yeah, I can see that, or yeah, that makes sense, or yeah, I could see them possibly doing that at some point. But a new Mana game and then Sega doing the remake of all their like full on remakes of all their classic all the classic Sega games. It's like that I wouldn't have seen.
Yeah. All in all, the announcement portions of this year's Game Awards, top notch. I mean, there was things we expected, obviously. There was things that weren't expected. Sega is just wow. I was just super excited to have seen that. The Game Awards did a good job this year. It was more streamlined, and Nick has said this countless times before, but we don't need all the fake movie stars and crap like that. If they're a part of the game, that's one thing. Matthew McConaughey was there, but he was in doing a game thing, so that's cool. So keep it streamlined like that. Keep us surprised with these games. I was really, really happy with this one. I had to miss part of it, of the live portion, because I'm a dad and I had to do daddy duty. But boy, as soon as it was done, I rewound and watched everything I'd missed, and super pumped. I was super happy with the Game Awards this year. Super happy with pretty much all of these announcements. There was some things that piqued my interest, some things I didn't care about, that's just because it's just not my repertoire. So good announcements. So Nick, you got anything else on the announcements for this year?
No, I don't think so. The Matthew McConaughey game was that Exodus game that looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what he did in it because I didn't hear his voice at all in any of the trailer, but he's got some part in it somewhere. So
I'm pretty sure it's all right.
I'm sure it is. But yeah, that game looked pretty good actually. So I was like, okay, that game looks like it might be pretty fun. But yeah, no, I mean, it was overall it was pretty good. I think this year, as far as like how everything was kind of streamlined. Usually the Game Awards in the past has gone really long, and it's like, will this thing ever end? Even though I love games and everything, but this thing is like, it's like 3 hours now and I want to go to bed. Right. So this year they really kept it streamlined. I think they just need a little bit more streamlining. I think next year, Jeff Keighley said, is going to be the 10-year anniversary. So, bedazzled jacket, Jeff. Bedazzled jacket.
Yeah, he broke my heart. This is the second year in a row. His jacket disappointed me because normally he wears some ungodly bedazzled 9-year-old girl made thing, and he hasn't done the last couple of years, and it breaks my heart because I look forward to the fugliness of his jacket. So broke my heart, Jeff. Just broke my heart. All right, you got anything else, bud? All right, well, let us know what you think. What excited you? What disappointed you? Is there anything on that list that was like, oh my God? Or is there anything on that list? Oh my God. Let us know in the comments below. Me personally, I'm all about the Sega stuff. So yay me. But thank you for getting all the way to the end. Make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe. It's very important to us because when you do that, we don't have to kick puppies. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Calm down. But no, we really appreciate it. And, give us a listen. Make sure you tell your friends to check us out too. All those gamers in your family. But until next time, see ya.